Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jim Ziegler, the Alpha Dog, and this is the Dawg Pound. We've got a great panel of our mischief makers today. One of the chief new instigators in the dog pack is my friend April Simmons. Hello, April.
Hello, Dawg Pound. How are we doing
today? You are the Dawg Pound.
I'm going to get feisty. I feel feisty today.
Well,
we tend to bring that out in people.
I have a tendency to draw that out, you know. And direct from New York City, who says it ain't what it used to be, my friend Max Zanan. Hey, Max.
Hey, Jim. Thank you for having me. And I finally have a buddy on the show who shares my views. Welcome, April.
What?
Oh no!
No, April shares my views.
We can't have two curmudgeons on the same show. One of the most brilliant women in the automotive universe, my friend April Briggs.
Oh, April Briggs. We know I don't share like that. Okay.
Brilliant woman.
Right.
She has been a general manager. She has been a clerk. She has been a get-ready technician. She's done every job in a dealership. And one of the premier general managers in the country, Berkshire Hathaway, Texas Nissan, Grapevine, Texas, my friend Johnny Cantrell. Hello, Johnny.
What's going on, Alpha Dog? How we doing?
I'm having the best day in the world. How's things down in Texas?
They're awesome. It's a little bit cooler, 59 degrees, but it's sunny and man, we're just getting after it, living the dream.
59 degrees and sunny.
Yes, sir.
I know on the other end of the globe, I'm in Fenton, Michigan.
Yeah.
Lasco Ford, my friend, a longtime former client of Matt Lasco. Matt, how you doing?
Doing great, Jim. Thanks for having us on again. I enjoy the group you got together today.
Well, you are always a welcome addition. One of the foremost Ford dealers in the country. And forward thinking. This guy is a forward thinking dealer. I'm gonna tell you right now. I've known him for 15 years, Matt.
You might be scratching 20, but yeah, I honestly I think it was 1998 is the first time we got to know each other. So I'm getting the gray hairs are real.
I remember the first time I visited your dealership, and I was just amazed at some of the new innovations you were putting in. And the queen of BDC, the business development goddess, Bobbie Herron.
I like that. I think I'm liking goddess.
Yeah. Oh, you got your phone number in your signature today. I love that.
I almost had like a smart ass comment in there, and then I was like, "Keep it together. It's only the beginning of the show."
Bobbie is for hire as a BDC consultant. Her phone number's in her signature. Okay, here we go. The Dawg Pound this week is all about built to order. This is all about the manufacturer's drive to built to order. And my question to Farley and Mary Barra and some of the people that are built to order advocates. I saw a commercial on TV this week for a Chevrolet truck, and it says you can only order it direct. I mean, direct to the consumer from the manufacturer. I mean, what in the heck is going on here?
Is that I don't know because I've been kind of off the grid all week, but is that built to order from the manufacturer direct, or is it still going through the dealership? Does anybody know?
That's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure.
Yes. So anyway, built to order, and some of the factory initiatives they're coming out right now. How's that affecting you, April?
Well, honestly, it's been kind of a train wreck and a joke, to be perfectly blunt about it. You know, I think they're able to kind of play a shell game and be a little bit of a facade about it right now just because everyone's struggling with inventory. But I feel like as soon as we're able to, get cars at production levels that we're all used to, how bad this really is going to come to light.
What's happening now? Johnny, you're with Berkshire Hathaway, and I know you've got, 2 or 3 stores?
Correct.
Yeah. What's happening with built to order?
So, built to order with my Nissan store right now, we've got one hot product that falls in line with what we're talking about today, electric cars. We have the Aria. So it's the first, I guess, order car that Nissan's done. You're a hand raiser, and once you're a hand raiser, if you want your car secured how you want it built, custom order, it is a $500 non-refundable deposit to order that car.
Oh, it's non-refundable with Nissan. Okay.
Correct. So, reservations have been okay. To April's point, I think that right now everybody's very captive. So I think that, when we're short inventory, manufacturers, again, there's some great things about manufacturers. There's plenty of good, but I think this is them trying to control some things. I will tell you, two of my best friends received the new Hummer. And I don't know if you guys heard much about that, but there is a pricing policy on Hummer. General Motors said if you charge over MSRP, they can take all of your Hummer orders, right? So while they're not, ordering and selling direct, they are trying to put some pricing policy in, which, again, due to the market, that's kind of tough, right? Because I looked on eBay, they're selling for $300,000. So we're going to cap the dealer at the $150 price point and say, hey, you can't sell it for over that. But then we're going to allow a customer who has no interest in driving the product to go make $150,000. I think that's where, things get a little bit tough, right? And what's right and what's the right protocol. But build to order is moving, and it's getting larger, it's getting bigger because of the inventory constraints, and I think we'll see more and more of it. And again, we'll see how it turns out. I think there's a lot to talk about, and a lot of stones left unturned.
Matt, what's happening with Ford now? I know the Ford's got the Mach-E and
Mach-E, Maverick, Bronco, Lightning. They all
Lightning's coming, right?
In all honesty, yeah, all of our product is hot enough where it's a built to order, and I guess I have so in there. I think there's a factor where if the manufacturers of any brands are going to start to get involved in some controlling of what we can retail a vehicle for, they're going to have to come up with some guidelines. Similar, remember the Ford GT? They had a deal where if you want a Ford GT, the newer version of it, they capped you at 6 or 12 months. You had to keep ownership of it, and if you didn't, I think they even sued the big WWE star that sold him too soon, and they won the case. Well, I feel like that's the balance that they've got to go, because it is frustrating to see a dealer make a few $1,000s and then a customer take a car home and sell it for 5 times what we made on the vehicle, when we're the ones with these giant storefronts, et cetera. I'll be honest, we've been fortunate enough to get a lot of feedback from Ford, and I also have a lot of friends that are in manufacturing. The chip scenario is not the only thing that we've got coming forward. When you build a few million cars light year after year after year, your demand factor and the ability to even resupply is 3 to 4 years from now. So I look at the build to order thing as something that, one, we're delivering a great experience. Last month, we delivered well over 100 new Fords. We're earning our retail allocation. My customers know their price ahead of time. We're making good margin, but not having frustrations. And then basically Ford's model is they do want us to have about 40% as stock units. The good news is those 40% of stock units, we're going to see some really good margin on. And we've taken a different direction. Some dealers have a natural dealer markup. Here's my 10 grand over sticker. We pretty much, any vehicle we have that we keep in stock are adding valuable assets to the vehicle. We're adding an exterior, 3M package or wheels and tires or some type of an item on there that actually carries along with the car and gives them value. And I've had good, honestly, it's been accepted well from the clientele. And at the same time, I think that we're missing, if our margins are super high and our inventories are low, our floor plans are at all-time low, and it's allowing us to have good net profits. So do I love it? No, because I think we miss that commercial buyer that has his van break tomorrow in my service department and says, I'll buy a Transit today. I got to get on the road. Those things are where I think the manufacturers are going to have to really analyze. They don't quite know retail. I'll agree with Jim on that 100% that they don't. And I think that they're going to miss opportunity for all of us in that aspect. And then that keeps driving used car market up because that's hey, I got a business. I've got to put my plumber on the road. I'll pay anything for a used car. But I think we're 2, 3, 4 years away before the whole chip excuse changes anything.
Agreed.
I don't think the chip excuse is going to be around that much longer. Let me ask you, how good is the factory at fulfilling orders?
This is why I say it's not the chip thing. It's not the factory, it's the supplier. And I have friends that work for Lear. You can order a couch right now, and for a couch will back your couch up 9 months. So it's, in my opinion, I have maybe 4% of my customer base have a frustration over an order, but at the same time, the ones that really listen and will allow us to change an option and get their car built fast. I've got Bronco and Super Duty customers getting vehicles 6 weeks from placing an order because they listened to what the right way to order one, and we got it built. The dealer's got to work hard.
I will share with you.
Then the dealer will create frustration rather than good content.
Johnny,
I think it's manufacturer to manufacturer. I had 33 of my 60 CPO units cut on Monday. So that's over half, right, of my order. Again, it's manufacturer to manufacturer. But, and I'm
a Mitsubishi, Johnny. So I'm in that aspect where we used to get, here's your allocation. Now I get an email twice a month that says, hey, we can ship you these 18 Outlanders. Would you like them? And you say, yes,
right.
yes. So I do agree. But at the same time, I've seen the Mitsubishi find a way to keep me enough stock to match my previous 30 days of sales. Literally, they've kept me enough to stay alive. So I think they're all finding a balance. And Mitsu doesn't have any retail order. What they did, and Jim, you'd love this, Mitsu's taken their Outlanders, their hottest vehicle. Their allocation base is based on your time on lot, sale time to deliver. If you sit around and try to hold out for massive gross and wait, you'll end up missing out on opportunity. So each manufacturer has an angle, and I think that the dealer's the one that's got to find the way to make themselves work. Like you say, we're a forefront dealer. Well, no, we're just a dealer that says, hey, you can't change a manufacturer. Let's go figure out what we've got to do to survive. And that's the reality.
Jennifer, what are your dealers' experiences?
Well, I just spent the weekend revamping an entire process because of the order situations at one of the Ford stores that I work with. And I think, the one thing, Matt's 100% correct, we can't change. We can talk about it a lot, but the thing that we're really good at in retail is adapting. And I think the one thing that we're missing out is making sure we're setting our teams up for success right now. And, I built out, separate, and we may or may not have gotten our hands slapped for some pricing issues. So some of our order portals are closed at this location. And so I had to build custom processes. So if it is a Bronco order or Mach-E order or whatever that order might be, if the portal is closed, we now have a separate status that our sales team can move that customer into. And as soon as we get word that that's open, or if we have allocation coming, then we're able to very easily get that group of customers together and start messaging them and creating that, hey, it's open, we got to do an order. But we've also had to blow out our on-order follow-up from whether it would have been a 3-month, a 6-month, out to 12 months for a lot of the stores.
Let me ask a question.
Yeah.
Am I the only one on this panel that is worried about the manufacturer retailing directly to the consumer?
They can try again. I just don't think they could ever pull it off.
Well, but is this a trend that's going to grow? And are we losing autonomy in our dealerships? So
yes, 150%, Jim.
Okay, where are you at? Here's our resident curmudgeon.
So listen, I look at it from long distance, right? And I've been saying it for a long time. What you're witnessing is the failure of Harvard Business School, Stanford Business School in real life, right? Because all these guys are working for Ford, for Stellantis, for Nissan, and this guy comes along, right? And he starts Tesla, and he has 2 revelations, right? First, he says, I'm going to make cars that people want to buy. And because of that, they will be ordering them, right? So now, right? I remember GM building purple Malibus with cloth interior. Guys, this is something that nobody's going to order under any circumstances unless your enterprise are hurt.
Okay, that's all right. Purple PT Cruiser.
You're laughing. I know.
Hey, look, right now we could sell them, I promise.
Right. So now, right, these guys are saying that, oh my God, we can actually make cars that customers want. And here comes Hummer, here comes Mach-E, here comes Lightning, here comes Bronco, right? Where have they been, the last 15 years? So that's point number one. Point number two, of course they want to sell direct to consumer because from manufacturing perspective, it streamlines it, right?
But there's another, Max, let me throw another thing in the mix. The manufacturers are creating artificial scarcity.
Correct.
I mean, the scarcity, like Bob Carter from Toyota this week announced that Toyota will no longer, even after the pandemic and the chip shortage is cleared, even after all the dust settles, they're never going to go to more than a 30-day supply again.
Hey, and Alpha Dog, that was a wink. Bob came back and told the dealers it would be 20. Just so you know.
Yeah,
20 days supply.
No, he said 30. No, in the public, right? In the public, he said 30, but it was a wink to dealers that, hey, we ain't going over 20. So to your point. Right.
And the Toyota scarcity has been a lot longer. Like it was last April with one of my Toyota stores. I was like, listen, we got to focus on acquiring used cars because we got nothing to sell on the new car side of things. And that was a year ago now.
Well, there's
so
another
there's
another thing. There's another thing that happened. I want to throw it out to the whole panel. Now, Stellantis just raised the price of a Ram truck, the 1500, their hottest seller, by $3,000. All of a sudden, the MSRP jumped up $3,000. The reason it jumped up $3,000 is they saw how much the dealers were making, and they said we got to scoop that on our side of the ledger.
Right. Again, going back to Tesla. Tesla was the first one to raise MSRP, right? Because that's what you do, in the supply and demand economics.
They also removed their car charger too. Did you see that? Another net ad pickup.
Yeah.
That's right. So again, listen, Stellantis, they're raising their MSRP 3,000. That's not enough, and they're late to the party. They missed the last 12 months, of making easy money. But the last point I want to make here is that the direct to consumer model works for a certain type of a customer,
right? Which is not the majority of car buyers in the United States.
Exactly. I need the car today customer.
I've been waiting. I try to give Max his chance without jumping on him, but I've been waiting for that point.
I'm trying to herd cats here. Okay.
I need the car today customer is not going to build anything, is not going to wait for anything for 8 weeks or 12 weeks.
So that's okay. Let me jump back in. Okay. Hyundai told their dealers in a dealer meeting recently, and I don't know if this is a regional meeting or a national meeting, but some of the dealers are reporting to me. Hyundai said, we're going to sit this thing out and let Ford and General Motors choke on built to order while we flood the market with inventory.
Well,
so Hyundai said, we are going to flood the market with inventory, and while General Motors and Ford are choking on orders they can't.
But that was going to happen either way.
Jim,
Jose Munoz is running Hyundai Kia. He ran Nissan for 6 years. He is go, stress, sell. So that was happening either way. He wants to sell volume, right? He wants to just move, push, and put stress on the dealer. Back in 2018, we would sell 450 to 500 new Nissans at a negative $1,800 to $2,000 per copy, but then we'd have $900 to $1 million in quarterly money we would earn if we, earn CSI, if we had service supplement. It got so tough, right? But then he started. It went from 900,000 to 600,000. Then it went to 300,000, right? And in the meantime, he ruined his brand's value. Now we all got freshly purged here, right? Because of the the shortness in inventory, right? But to what Matt said at the first, it's not a knock on manufacturers. They don't know retail, just like Max said. They don't know how to deal with that customer needs it today. They don't know retail. It's just, I'm not saying anything bad about manufacturers. You just don't know what you don't know, right?
All right.
Well,
Well,
and
Well,
I
maybe
really
the
think
Ford-
though, kind of keep this in mind
Well,
too. I'm just going
go
to throw
ahead.
this in here. For the last 2 years, most of the suppliers are operating in a form of like crisis management. And so are a lot of the dealers. A lot of us are. The variable there is that it's not going to go back to like normal or what we knew it to be. And not to say the new normal, but companies are facing a greater instability and volatility in the market right now. And either one or the other, the suppliers, the OEM, us, are going to get it together to have to figure it out, because this whole just selling at the top thing and crossing our fingers and hoping for inventory to come in is not working. And in the meantime, we're jacking our market where we're not going to be able to trade in some of these things that we had pulled out when we do have inventory levels.
Right.
So it's like, how do we be mad at the OEM?
I'm having some
When you're ready, I have a
08
little
residual
feedback on that there.
PTSD. I'm not kidding.
You're not gonna, these cars you're selling for over sticker and big profits are not gonna have problems trading it. Here's the facts.
Well,
You're 8 million by the end of this year. These vehicles are not gonna depreciate. Ford Maverick, the cheapest in the world, you can trade in with 6,000 miles 9 months after owning it for sticker. For over sticker
right
for you.
now,
So that isn't a concern for me. But no, not right now. It
but
doesn't
Matt,
drop.
You're in a
Here's the
leasing
fact.
market.
No, but listen, here's someone that speaks to manufacturers. I'm going to tell you directly. Ford has stated they can't even start to refill their fleet orders until January of 2023. Once they start to fulfill those orders, it'll take 18 months minimum before fleet companies even think about starting to sell them. So every car you've sold the past 3 years, they're going to be traded while the market is still within relevance. And throughout that time, all these MSRPs are going to continue to go up. Mach-E went up $4,000. No one even talked about it. So in the world, the reality is in Ford, I think Farley's really on a good point with it. 60% of his vehicles wants to be a retail order. Guess why? A guy ordering an F-150, a Bronco, a Super Duty, a Mach-E, they want it exactly how they want it. Someone coming in to buy an EcoSport that takes 6 months to get it from out of the country just wants a payment. So those 40% cars are going to be in stock, and they're going to have it. And every manufacturer is going to adjust. Mitsubishi doesn't even take a retail order. I can tag an inbound car. They don't care. They're all going to have their own angle. But in my opinion, worrying about the direct sale thing is so far from their capacity that we can't fathom. I've been around for 26 years in the Ford stores. They've tried all the games. They can't even sell a used car direct, and neither can Chevy.
Yeah, we were all around with the Ford Auto Collection.
If you're a dealer out there panicking about that, sell your store, because that's not going to be your problem.
Matt, I have a question for you, though. A quick question for you,
Yep.
Matt, because we're in a market, like I live in Michigan too, so we live in a high lease penetration market, but traveling around the country, we have states where the average time for retail for a trade-in is 6 years instead of 3, near Texas and Louisiana, outside of a shortage due to, weather issues where they lose their whole fleet. We're seeing that a lot more. Do you really believe that they don't need to be concerned about the LTV that's going to be an issue in 5 years if that's their trade cycle, when they're like 10%? I'm guessing the number.
Mitsubishi leases like 4%. My trade cycle on Mitsubishi is under 15 months. It's been that way for 4 years.
But I'm talking about our location.
April wants to jump in this.
Bobby, I want to answer that. I think your point, what you're saying right now, is exactly why dealers will always have to be around. And I don't think it matters. Because if I look back to 2006, 2007, the last time gas prices started hitting $6, and everyone with a truck and an SUV was in trying to buy a Prius, and they were $22,000, $25,000, $30,000 upside down, and they didn't care. We got creative as dealerships and figured out a way to sell cars. And then we turned around and figured out how to sell those trucks and SUVs. So whatever comes our way, we're adaptable and we're going to figure it out, but it's going to be the
Oh,
dealer,
yeah.
not the man.
I'm not saying dealerships are going to go out of business. I don't believe that. What I'm saying is I think that there's an internal need for adaptability to accrue for things instead of putting all the gross towards one vehicle. I'm not saying that won't be an issue or to not do it. I'm saying be intelligent about it and think about your market and if that's going to be an issue and start to accrue across the board on what you need to make sure that it doesn't happen.
I'm going to say something. Right now, we've discussed this in the show in the past, but it's still the elephant sitting in the room. The elephant sitting in the room is that electric vehicles are not subject to franchise laws in most states, and Ford has made electric vehicles a separate company altogether, separated it from internal combustion engines. So now all of a sudden, I'm seeing direct from the manufacturer to the consumer. Is the manufacturer cutting out the dealers? Whether they can
No,
do
they're
it
going
or
to
not.
I think what you're going to see, Jim, is they're going to cut out fleet.
They're going to do what?
I think you're not going to. They're not going to go direct to a consumer. Now, I think they're going to sell 1,000 electric vehicles to Amazon direct. I think they're going to sell 10,000 electric vehicles to someone direct, and they're going to call it fleet. And treat it like it's Hertz or Enterprise. But
Exactly.
It is not possible. They don't have the ability to finance, trade, sell, etc. at the capacity the consumer desires. 15 years from now, maybe they'll get themselves there. But in my firm opinion, they don't have the capacity to do that. That's how they're going to take a little away from the dealer.
I agree they can't do it. But I don't agree that they won't try to do it.
Well, I don't know.
I don't see
need to have a popular opinion on that, Jim, because quite frankly, I don't know how much I care. And I know that sounds horrible, but to me, EV is such the sprinkles right now. Like it's kind of like, my customer base is going to be buying gasoline vehicles for a very, very long time. So if they want to go and play over in the EV sandbox and see if they can figure out how to sell a car directly, they can do that. They'll be right back at the dealerships when they realize they can't do it.
On bloody knees, begging like this.
And the proof is there. I mean, I want to make one point in this, and I've got some stats to back it up.
Stats.
I love facts. Facts.
Analytics.
That's
me too.
The first four letters of analytics.
Last time I checked, they all say dealers are greedy. We are. But the last time I checked, I think the OEM is even more greedy.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, volume does matter to the OEM, right? They sell a car, they make a profit every time I, the dealer, buy a vehicle from them. That's ultimately how that works. And they would have to outsell so much more to go direct. And right now we're going to sell whatever we have. We all know that, right? Kia. My Kia store that I'm sitting on top of right now, yes, they're number 5 in the nation, but they did something last month that just made you go, uh-huh. There were only 3 stores in all of Arizona that outsold them in new cars last month. And it was 3 Toyota stores, and that was it. Now, we've never beat that kind of level ever. Why? Because Kia is just sending us inventory. We are selling everything in our pipeline. They're telling us what's coming. We're selling it. You know how many new cars I have on the ground today? 0. You know what I'm driving for a demo? A used car. They are still going to continue to outsell and grab market share and grab market share and grab market share. And Ford and Chevy, when they start to lose market share to Toyota, to Ram, to Dodge, to these other manufacturers,
They'll go back to their old ways.
to realize
That's what I said all along. April. Didn't I say that all along? Didn't Hyundai already announce that, hey, we're going to flood the dealers with inventory while General Motors and Ford are choking on built to order? That's exactly what they said.
Statistically, I mean, think about this. If Ford said tomorrow, you know what, we're going to scrap this order situation. We're just going to, how much more F-150s? If chips aren't a problem, right? That's not the problem now. How many more vehicles could they get on our lot tomorrow if they just sent us stuff? right? Just send us the trucks. Just give me F-250s, give me F-150s, and how much more product can we actually turn and sell if I had it sitting on the lot? I know the answer, all of it, 100% of it.
I just think that we have like a really good opportunity right now. And I know I'm always the silver lining one, but like it's a fact. We have a really good opportunity right now to manage the inherent risks, not just when it comes to inventory, but when it comes to the change in volatility in our market and things that are going on. I think there's a big opportunity right now to do that. And the dealerships and the suppliers who are embracing that are going to be winning as we go forward. And as we fight it harder, but don't embrace adaption, that's where we really struggle.
Well,
Johnny, let me.
I don't think
Johnny a
order
question.
direct
1 second.
is slowing down. To be clear there.
Well, I think it's impossible to hit the
Sorry, Johnny.
percent objective.
No, you're
Let me ask Johnny a question a second.
Sure.
Johnny, Grapevine. I happened to be in Grapevine, Texas on 9/11, so I know. I was 4 days in that Sheraton over there. But anyway, how many units did you sell pre-pandemic?
150 to 175 new and 150 to 175 used.
Now your sister store, Westway Ford.
About the same.
Okay, weren't they selling 1,000 units a month at one time?
When Steve Starnes had it, 10 plus years ago.
Because
Yes,
I consulted that store and I took them to 1,000 units.
There you go.
Joe Tide.
Yes, sir. That's right.
Yeah. So in other words, the Texas dealers are big volume dealers. All of them is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
You know, I work with Park Cities Ford. I worked with Prestige Ford, Westway. So,
all the big dogs. Yes, sir.
So I worked with all the big dogs in the market, and I was responsible for getting a lot of them to the big numbers. Yeah. So how many units are the big dogs selling these days?
So, Grapevine Ford right here in town, Chaz Gilmore, good friend of mine that's operator there, they're still selling 275, 300. Camelback Toyota that's out in Arizona, I only thought of that because she talked about her Kia store. That store's selling 1,000 cars a month, netting $5 million. I'll just say that one time. I won't say it again. Netting $5 million in March. Net profit after everybody's paid, right?
$5 million.
Yeah, net $5 million. Yes, sir. But
I did $5 million.
Yeah, I did want to say though, hey, let's go back 3 years ago before we were all making $5,000-6,000 on the front. Okay, let's say the manufacturer Jim does want to sell cars, right? If that ever happens, which I don't think it's going to happen in our lifetime, I just want the service business, right? I'm at 2.5 cents return on the dollar in sales, not like it is now. I want to keep it now at a big ROI. But there at a Nissan deal, there was a time when we were losing money in sales, but I'm at 70% in service, right?
Right.
So if it ever gets to that point, again, I don't think it's going to get there in our lifetime. I think they're going to take fleet, like Matt was saying, which they do anyway. Enterprise always gets a straight deal. I get no RDR, no credit for doing an enterprise deal. It's just, free, right? If they ever try to get in the retail game, I just want to be a master marketer to the service people, right? And CPRO and keep that deal.
I'll say that. Johnny, you're right on it. And Farley said the same thing about Ford. He's way back when this all kicked off. My father and him raced cars together. He says, Phil, you need to be amazing at service and a commercial fleet service. So even though we don't get to sell the fleet, they want us to service the fleet, and they know they can't do it without us. And the margins are marvelous commercial fleet work in the service department. So we literally just talked about this 4 minutes before we started with my service team. So it's all about looking for your opportunities and maximize it. And I will say, as someone mentioned, like they build any shipped us cars. Unfortunately, from my perspective, and I live with my new car team inside of the Ford store, I don't think they could build a car any faster than they do on the retail order bank. And the plus side is by having our turn is within 5 days of it landing on my lot. So my turn for the next allocation round's quicker than if I just had stock units and I waited for gross to see what I could sell, and or the few stock units that I do get or canceled order units are massive opportunities for profit. So I don't know that system's killing shape or form either. Do I I could have gotten some more retail orders built earlier in this process, maybe.
Sure.
But currently, we take about 100. We're selling 100 plus new Fords a month. We used to sell big months were 180, and we're taking 100 new Ford orders a month as we go. So the forecasting ability. How about marketing expense? We've cut our marketing expense down to a bare minimum, right? And everyone forgets that. Hey, Johnny, when you were selling them at an $1,800 loss, because I know this from my own Mitsu store, at the same time, we were spending $600 a car to sell the damn
Right.
things. So
Absolutely.
if you sit back and really analyze it, even manufacturers happier. I know they talk market share. They're not chasing it because they don't need to put a $9,000 rebate on F-150s because they built too many. They don't need to have
Keeping
a
that
$4,000
money.
rebate on a car that came out yesterday.
Now, Matt, wait a minute, Matt, you said something that I don't believe. You said Ford no longer cares about market share. I think they care greatly about market share.
Well,
no, they don't. They blatantly told us that is not going to be something that's going to commit them to change their process, that they are dedicated to the process they have in place and being profitable.
Now everybody knows that.
I'm going to say to you, Matt, you and I disagreed on other things, but I think the first time Ram truck becomes number one in the market,
Right.
all that bullshit's out the window.
Hey, Jim, listen, everybody knows this. I'm going to say something. Everybody's going to like this. You ready? I think you're right, Jim. If that's in an executive's pay plan, they're just like us. You show me a pay plan, I'll show you a job description, right? Yeah. If that's not an executive's pay plan, that, hey, you got to be at 25% market share over the next 3 years, it pays you $1 million bonus. If that's in a guy's pay plan, you're right, Jim.
I'm going to disagree with that, Johnny, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why, Johnny. Johnny, I'll tell you why. Because the board runs Ford. Farley does not run Ford.
I'm going to grab some popcorn shortly. I can
see
it coming.
The board runs Ford.
Right.
Farley answers to the board, and as soon as and Stellantis is already.
And the board owns a whole bunch of stock, Jim, and the stock's been the best it's ever been since they've been profitable. So they're not Tesla because they're not privately owned.
They're going to lose market share.
So
guys.
I hear you. They're not going to lose to the Ram either because the Lightning truck's going to come with an F Series. The Super Duty's going to count as an F Series.
Yeah.
They're not going to lose at Chase on that. So.
Oh, we need to bring back Jack Nasser.
Right.
I
slept on Jack's couch once when I was 21 years old.
I still feel like what we need to worry about as dealers, regardless of what's going to happen, I think good for them. 60% orders is their goal. I just don't think that American consumers are ready for that. And what I worry about are my customers and my team and making sure that everyone is equipped to handle this shift and this change. And I mean, to the same point where everyone has slashed their advertising budgets, the hardest part, though, if we think about it during this time where we are more profitable, is where we should be investing in new processes and new training and making sure that our team is equipped to serve our customers in this type of market. Because while made to order, and I was peeking a little bit through while you guys were, having that wonderful back and forth, trying to look at like how many are we actually delivering through the order process versus what we can do. And it is a whole different beast. And I think that if we as leaders in the dealership are not preparing our team, are not preparing the right type of messaging for our customers, that's where we're going to get in trouble. And maybe because I was strong GM when we went through the last bubble and crash, and I did have to live through some of those overinflated residuals trying to come back, right? I mean, for General Motors in that market, right, we were 70% lease penetration, so we had a whole big mess then. And so I think that if we don't take the time and opportunity to make sure our teams know how to approach this, like Matt was saying, right? To get your customers prepared. I was just having this conversation with one of my internet managers earlier today. And it's like, well, under normal circumstances, we wouldn't even worry about talking to that customer until we were like 3 months out from the end of term. But we're going to have to tweak and we're going to have to change that so that we're better serving the customers, which means in a world of sales professionals who are right now, they have to get better at the long game, or we have to have systems in place for them that help them to be better at the long game. We shared this last week. I'm seeing days to sold jump up by 20, 25 days in a lot of the stores just because of the way that the market is. And regardless, no matter what the OEM does, and I love that April said, I don't care. Love it. For me, it's about making sure my team and my customers are taken care of. And it's a struggle for a lot of dealers, regardless of what the OEM is going to do and pushing for this. I mean, like a custom order page pushed down from Ford Direct isn't exactly super. I mean, it's great, but what else can we do to prepare the community and our team members for this? And I don't ever think we're going to hit 60% because most Americans don't buy cars that way. They are need buyers, not want buyers. That's why every time we start talking about Tesla, I'm like, we definitely are showing what bracket we're in, that we think that's what most Americans are after, because it's not. The average consumer in America needs a car. They don't have the luxury of picking what they want and waiting for it. And so I think I was mentoring some gal, so fun. She actually did just text me randomly from how we put the numbers on the screen. And she's like, is this really Jennifer Briggs? Like, she's 1 month in. And she's like, I just need some coaching. And I took her back old school. And I was like, well, here's you got to learn the art of the switch. Right. And if you don't have the new cars, then you have to be prepared to talk and switch them to a CPO if you have something. If you don't have enough of those on the ground, right, then we have to look at putting together
the art of the switch. Are you teaching the art of the switch?
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's think about it. It is still not one car, right? We sell a commodity. It's about identifying what your consumers' needs are and helping them to address it. And I think that that's why the order situation is stressful for me, because I know my consumer base. Now, I have a lot of Highline stores too. And for that one, perfect. I don't care, right? I'm used to waiting 12 months or 16 months to get my Land Rover in. It's fine. But for my mainline customers in a lot of markets that we do business, I mean, I'm just worried about making sure that the team is trained, the CRM has the right processes, so we can serve our customer base.
Well,
and why not be doing that right now? There's such a great opportunity.
Jennifer, on that note, sorry, Bobbie, go ahead.
No, Matt, I'm a super interrupter. Go ahead.
Okay. On that note, I will tell you, so my team is, we're heavily trained. We live within the process. 8% of every single retail order we take takes delivery to the same man name. 88% of them.
Strong.
As it's ever been, period. Okay. Yeah. And it's not what I think got missed here is so my turnover is 0. My sales staff, we were smart enough to say, okay, you get paid a commission at time of order, and then you'll get the rest of the commission when it gets here. So people actually are happy and fed.
You should say that again for people watching, Matt.
No, because I don't want them all to understand it. They got to replay the video. The fact is, we have the exact same crew of salespeople that were here 12 months ago. We were smart enough to put them onto a commission and a salary and a volume. It's about taking care of your people so they can do it right. And then my customer feedback from it, it's not your lease space. I will give this tip to everybody. Like, stop thinking, you're in Michigan. We do say, I got to order all my lease customers a car. Well, what about
I was thinking that, Matt, I was thinking you're in Michigan.
Right.
So you're a different animal.
Well, listen, but we're not. Every retail purchase we have, if they've owned it for over 15 months, we're communicating with them about ordering a vehicle. Everybody that bought a hot vehicle that I know takes a while to build that's worth a ton, I'm convincing them to order another brand new car right when they order when they get their next one.
Right.
You get a Bronco for me today.
You're the exception, not the
rule.
Well,
I don't know. I think
that
there's dealers out there doing that.
Matt, there is, but I can tell you, I work with hundreds of dealers across the country on operations analysis every year. So I can tell you, you're
The
the
queen of
exception, not the
BDC,
rule.
absolutely.
It's a fact. And, we talk about the BDC thing, but important to know, right? I do operations analysis and high performance culture improvement. I am working with dealers just like you and dealers looking for an opportunity every day. And I don't say that to be like, oh, I know this. I learn from people like you. That's how I collaborate and know this. But I'm telling you, you're the exception, not the rule. It is
That's
not
okay,
about
Matt.
it's
Matt
not
tells me
practice.
that all the time.
That's what I say in every
Yeah.
program. The dealers that are here are the 2%ers.
But
Guys,
that's why
other
we're sharing this.
98%
Exactly,
are
and
in
I love
complete
that.
darkness.
I love that we share it like this. Like, look at the conversations that are happening.
Wait, Bobbie, wait a second. But Max, the dealers in the panel you say are the super performers. Now,
Yeah.
okay. Now, why would I put a shit dealer on the panel?
No. I'm not saying,
We only do that when we don't like
put a shitty dealer on. I'm just saying that the guys on the panel do not represent the wider dealer body.
Well, that's
all.
what I'm saying. Yeah.
They should be inspiring the people watching, because
Right.
I think, one of the things I really admire about what Matt and Jay have done with the what they took and inherited and then totally transformed culturally, right? They've, even before the pandemic, the fact of the matter is if you pay attention to the market and you pay attention to your consumers and your teams, whether that's internal or OEM, you can be progressive, but you have to want to be. You need to pull your head out of your and get with the program, or send me your information and what your buy price is.
Matt is on this panel because he's a strange duck. He's like nobody else in the world.
We like Matt.
My wife says the same thing. They're nothing like you, fella.
We put people, honestly, for like people watching though, so when you see this mix up of people, we also try to put people on this panel that will openly collaborate and say, that's wrong, this is right, because it's not about making other people feel like they're not doing the right thing. It's about finding people that you in your position can relate to, who are like you, that can help you improve. That's
if you're a slacker, pay attention.
Yeah. And if you're awesome, please pay attention. And look at all these amazing comments. These are people that are coming together and learning from each other and building relationships to make this industry stronger. I fully support that. As a quick question, though, I have a quick aside. I don't want to go political. Okay. I always stress this. But I saw that Stellantis released the announcement right before we got on here about shutting down the plant in Kaluga, I think that's how it's pronounced, in Russia. And it's Mitsubishi related. So since we were talking about Mitsubishi, is there concern for that? I saw it was like 11,000 annual vehicles where Ford and them had already shut that down.
They're built for Russia. So I think in some way, maybe it gives some better help to the other areas. They're not shipped into the U.S.
Now you got
Gotcha,
Aaron,
I wasn't sure,
you got
so that's good
Aaron
info.
Weakling lead, Aaron Weakling, we all know him, Matt. See, Matt's got the audience stuffed with his own fans here.
Good for you, Matt. We appreciate that. You got good people going on. There's been some really great
Listen, I
comments.
got a call yesterday and said to jump on. So I think that I don't have fans. I have people that know that what I speak is from the heart. That's all. And mind you, like, I get it. My team comes in and I've learned and grown. I'm not the czar. I really try to let my team speak their piece now, because the only way to be great is to have a lot of different opinions. And I stand my ground if I've been through that experience and said, now listen, I've already lost money on that try. Yes. But at the same time, everyone has to have feedback and bring it in. And I will tell you, my team will tell you, they really wish they bought into what I talked about 18 months ago when it ordering program. It was only about 8 months ago that they fully committed. And the success we're having right now because of it is overwhelming. And I literally had to challenge them to get them to understand that, like, we expect to evolve every day as a company. And if you're not, then you're genuinely go back. And that's where I say, like, I'm not about them selling direct or any of that stuff. I'm going to evolve no matter what. As an entrepreneur and a business person, they can't pluck away what I have. I've got property in a spot with a big building and great people. I don't care what I have to sell to succeed. Will evolve as it goes. I just hate living in like a level of speculating fear. I'd much rather have my team focused on what succeeds now than like, oh man, should I be looking at another career? They might sell direct. No way. If sales goes one direction, I'll find another way to feed my salespeople. So I would challenge all those dealers out there to stop being afraid and start taking control of your destiny and move forward. Speculation, because it comes up with those topics, and I even knew I would be the oddball that kind of defends the Ford and defends the retail owner. I'm comfortable with that because I feel like it's someone has to speak up and say, hey, that blue oval fed my family for the past 40 years. So
I love
not
Ford.
be perfect.
Hey, I love Ford.
Well, and also
Ford.
I think that
I know,
Matt, I respect
you're
your
not
right
the
to be wrong.
oddball in it, though. It's just a variable of opinion on it. Like, I don't think that we're going dealer direct, and I'm not concerned at all about where we're going to end up. What I'm concerned about is people's inability to adapt during the time where it could be most productive for them, and waiting until the last minute. And I care about that because I care about the dealer, and I care.
That's the message I wanted my staff to hear a year and a half ago, Bobbie.
Yeah.
That's the message. Stop waiting. When someone has the foresight, jump in. That's the key.
I've always said you're so reactive.
I totally
if we could be proactive, it would be easy.
I totally respect Matt's right to be wrong.
Hey Jim, if you want to compare paychecks last month, we weren't one of those bad netting dealers either, pal. So we're doing something right.
Well, and I think it's really important, and I know you didn't want to say it again for people, but I do think it's important that you're paying some commission when the order is placed. I think that builds some morale and helps the team, especially in situations where you have, we're seeing a lot of BDCs being restructured currently. Actually, just good for her. I'm so excited for her. One of my best BDC managers that I get to work with is now going to the sales floor so that she can be in control right now, because she can't be with what her current pay plan is. And I'm super happy that they gave her that opportunity, and I know she's going to kill it. But at the same time, I'm super sad because I'm like, oh, what am I going to do there? But if you're not trying to find ways to continue to pump up your team, whether it's through something like that or something to keep them going, like I've even seen some BDCs where they're paying a portion of their bonus at the time of order pending as well, and then the rest at the end. But I think not that you were, right? Your turnover is unheard of for our business, and that is amazing. But I think there are a lot of stores out there that are losing talented people because they're not being proactive with this.
Yeah, you said that number and I felt a little in love with it. Like, a little bit of me was like, wow, you didn't know that you were a little in love with Matt Lasco until he said that. And I was like, good job.
I want to give you a different perspective,
Of course.
So here we go, Max.
So even though direct to consumer is a danger for a franchise model, I think the real danger is the pricing, the outrageous oversticker pricing that consumers will not forget, and car dealers are driving them in the arms of Rivian, Tesla, whoever else comes along next.
Because most of America can afford those cars, Max.
But these cars are getting cheaper and cheaper. Model 3, you can get it for $35,000-$40,000. All I'm saying is that the crazy pricing, people have long memory, guys.
The new Silverado electric truck starts at $100,000.
Okay.
Listen, I just paid $1,000 over a sticker for a laptop that I didn't want to buy. So I'm with Max. I'm not going to forget it. I won't be ordering that laptop again, but I had to, so I did it. And also I saw that, Matt, you bleed blue. So I guess I'm not in love with you anymore because I'd say green is definitely better.
Oh, now they're getting a Michigan fight, guys. This is a.
I am a U of M fan. That's great.
It's fine, like Jim says. Even the smartest people have to be wrong sometimes.
Oh,
even what Max says.
Johnny, what are you thinking over there, Johnny?
Oh, I just think it's all great feedback. I was thinking I do one meeting a week with the salespeople. The managers do everything. Mine are more about life meetings, right, and things like that. But treatment of customers right now is a big deal. I want you to think of a Nissan store, and it's been a knife fight in DFW for 10 years to get a Nissan deal done. You're begging. So we're talking a lot about our salespeople because now they're in a situation not usually in, and they got their chest stuck out a little bit. And we talk a lot about customer treatment. And Max said long memories, they will. If you're polite and you give them a great experience, I think you can charge. nice margin, right? But again, customer treatment is a big thing nobody's talking about right now.
Well, a lot
Because
of people
we do
forget
have the upper hand, right?
I was
You're on the money, Johnny. I agree 150%.
I was the original full price is a fair price guy. I mean,
I'm with you.
If Matt will remember, when I visited his store and I was training in his store 20 years ago, I was teaching full price is a fair price.
Sure.
So I was teaching hold the gross.
We agree with you to this day, Jim. We feel like a fully disclosed sale is a fair price that is agreed upon. What I think that is missed, and I actually had a talk with a consumer on this because they're like, well, what about, our manufacturer saying not to sell cars over sticker? That's not really what that all came from. Just people spun media. The breakdowns and the problems were customers that made a retail order and agreed upon a price. And when the car came in,
they jacked them up. They jacked them up.
That's the real breakdown. You can order any Ford you want from me at A-Plan, X-Plan, or sticker. Every one of them. Let's go. When it gets here, I'll honor your price.
A-Plan, X-Plan.
I will always invite Matt.
That's the option
on the show.
Well,
I will always invite. Matter of fact, I would make Matt Lasco a regular panelist. I mean, I would have Matt back.
Listen, he's not trying to share that many secrets. We get him once a quarter.
Jen gets me.
I get it straight though, guys. The problem is not pricing or over sticker. The problem is transparency. That's where it becomes an issue with a customer. When given a choice, like those three choices, I as a consumer can decide. It's the trickery and the bullshit and the lack of transparency and the waste of time that frustrates people.
I live in Frisco.
Let me ask you this, Bob. From a consumer,
go ahead, Johnny. Houses in Frisco, it has a list price. They're selling for $400,000 to $700,000 over list in 2 to 3 days. But again, real estate's always been better at disclosure, right? You get your closing statement 3 days before you close. They ask you 4 times, do you have any questions, right? It's the transparency of it. If you feel like you're going to overpay, they try to talk you out of it almost. So disclosure is key, right?
I saw a Porsche advertised at $30,000 over sticker.
That's a steal.
I'm just glad you saw the voice advertising because that's a struggle.
That really is a steal. But let me ask you this real quick because there's something. I have a question for you here. We made a dedication. I sell all my Mitsubishis at sticker or less, and all my Fords are the only Ford that would have a price that was over sticker would be a modified vehicle. Right. We would have taken an added value to it, done wrap, done wheels and tires, done accessories, and then added margin to the items we added to the vehicle. That's all we've done.
Yeah.
Would a consumer, and it's funny to me. So, my car could be $10,000 over MSRP with some wheels and tires and this and that. We may be making a few dollars extra on the vehicle. But the guy down the street could have it literally marked up, dealer markup $10,000. That's I think the difference.
Matt, back in the day, I sold $3,000 pinstripes.
Hand painted though. Hand painted.
We all did things differently 37 years ago.
Yeah.
As we wind down today's this hour has flown fast.
Yeah, it definitely has.
This hour has flown fast. Bobbie, did we ever get this in the tribe? I thought I'd put it in the tribe.
Yeah, I reignited it in there, and then we'll share it again later. So anybody who's watching that can't see the live in there right now, we will be sharing it again later.
Okay. Well,
I think it was something actually with Restream because it didn't do it on LinkedIn either, and I fixed it.
Okay, very good. I don't know why it didn't. Restream's been acting up a little bit lately.
It's getting
but anyway. We had a great broadcast today, and of course we had Matt on. He tends to be wrong about a lot of things, but we still
listen. 0% turnover. He's right about something.
Right?
0% turnover.
Well, it's not a sports affiliation, but we'll let that slide.
Okay, built to order cars. Will it work? Max, take a last statement here.
Listen, I truly hope it will not work for the sake of the dealer, right? Because I understand our consumers, right? We need cars today. There is a concept of instant gratification. We've been trained for decades to choose from many available cars on the lot. right? And
inventory sells cars.
Exactly. And right now, everybody is bluffing, right? And everybody's like, oh no, I'm going to hold gross and I'm going to build cars to order and I'm going to do this. And then when Hyundai comes in and says, you know what, F this, right? I'm going to give you a 90-day supply nationwide. And then it's going to be a wake-up call for everybody.
Max, let me jump in and close the show on one thought. Yeah, the board is all indicated on profit, but one thing you got to remember is Bill Ford is on the board, and the first time Stellantis outperforms F-150, right. Ego is going to take over, and that's going to be the end of it. Everybody wave goodbye to the audience.